Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. It was a chilly spring morning when everything changed. One of those unpredictable days where the sun fought against gray clouds, casting uncertain shadows over my garden. At 65, I'd grown fond of mornings spent sipping coffee on my front porch, watching hummingbirds dart gracefully among blooming flowers. Life had become comfortably routine since I'd retired and lost John a few years back. I'd accepted solitude, though it still whispered loudly at times. That particular day started as ordinary as they come. I wrapped myself in my favorite knitted shawl and stepped onto the porch, inhaling deeply. The scent of fresh rain lingered in the air, promising more showers to come. With my coffee cup warm in my hands, I glanced across the lawn at the empty bird feeder swinging softly in the breeze. "Looks like you're out of luck today," I murmured to the birds chirping overhead, feeling a pang of guilt. I'd meant to refill it yesterday, but completely forgot. Just as I was debating heading back inside, a gentle yet unexpected knock sounded from the side gate leading to my backyard. I hesitated, eyebrows furrowing in surprise. No one ever visited at this hour. Setting my coffee down, I carefully descended the porch steps, curiosity guiding me. Opening the wooden gate, I found myself face to face with my neighbor, Tom. Tom was a friendly man in his early 70s, a widower whose charming smile and gentle manners had always made him popular around the neighborhood. His hair was a graceful silver, neatly combed back, and his blue eyes sparkled with warmth despite the cool weather. "Oh, Tom, good morning," I greeted warmly, smoothing my shawl self-consciously. "Everything all right?" He gave me an apologetic yet cheerful smile. "Sorry for dropping by so early, Evelyn. I noticed your gutter overflowing from yesterday's rain and thought I could help clear it out for you. Wouldn't want any leaks damaging your lovely home." I glanced up, startled. Sure enough, the gutter above my porch was clogged with leaves and debris, water dripping steadily onto the flowerbed below. "Oh goodness, I hadn't even noticed," I admitted sheepishly. "But Tom, I wouldn't want you climbing ladders at your age. It's risky." He laughed softly, an easy sound that put me immediately at ease. "Don't worry, these knees still have some mileage left," he assured me playfully. "Plus, it'd be my pleasure." Unable to resist his earnest offer, I relented. "All right then, but I insist on making you some fresh coffee. It's the least I can do." He nodded appreciatively. "Now that sounds perfect." I busied myself inside the kitchen, brewing a fresh pot of coffee as Tom set up his ladder. Watching him through the kitchen window, a peculiar warmth blossomed within me. I'd always respected Tom's kind, helpful nature, but we'd never interacted beyond neighborly greetings or community events. The intimacy of the moment felt unexpectedly comforting. When Tom returned to the porch, his cheeks rosy from the crisp morning air, I handed him a steaming mug. He took it gratefully, cupping the warmth between his weathered hands. "Thank you, Evelyn. It's always so peaceful here in your garden, like a little hidden sanctuary," he commented gently, gazing thoughtfully around. "It's my refuge," I admitted softly. "I suppose I enjoy it more than most things nowadays." He seemed to sense the subtle sadness in my voice, his blue eyes lingering a moment too long on mine, deepening our connection with silent understanding. "I know how you feel," he finally said, quietly reflective. "Since losing Margaret, the simplest things, like gardening or enjoying a warm cup of coffee, have kept me anchored." I nodded slowly, touched by the unexpected vulnerability he shared. "Funny how we find strength in the simplest moments," I replied softly, feeling a deeper resonance in his words. Tom smiled thoughtfully. "Perhaps that's just life reminding us we're never truly alone, even when it seems that way." Our conversation drifted naturally, blending stories of our pasts, our late spouses, and even our quiet dreams of the future. For the first time in years, I felt genuinely heard. Tom's quiet strength was comforting, and as the morning stretched into afternoon, I realized I hadn't felt such ease in anyone's company since John passed. Eventually, Tom stood and stretched, glancing upward at the clear gutter. "Well, your gutter won't be causing trouble any time soon." I smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Tom. Truly." He hesitated, lingering at the gate. "Evelyn," he began softly, "would you like to join me for dinner sometime? It feels good to talk, really talk." Surprised yet deeply pleased, I nodded without hesitation. "I'd like that very much." His expression softened, eyes sparkling with renewed energy. "Then it's a date." Watching him leave, my heart felt lighter than it had in years. The simple knock at my door had unexpectedly bridged the quiet gap of solitude I'd grown accustomed to. Tom's kindness had reminded me that life could still surprise me, no matter my age. As the day wore on, my thoughts returned frequently to our conversation. The gentle sincerity in his eyes, his soft laughter, and the way he'd opened his heart so openly, all of it lingered pleasantly in my mind. Yet beneath my happiness lay an undeniable tension, an excitement mixed with uncertainty. I hadn't expected this unexpected spark of connection to ignite at 65. Could a simple gesture of neighborly kindness genuinely evolve into something deeper? Sitting quietly that evening, wrapped again in my shawl on the porch, I found myself smiling. Perhaps my quiet days weren't destined to remain quite so quiet after all. Little did I know just how transformative Tom's unexpected help would turn out to be. Dinner with Tom was scheduled for Saturday evening, giving me several days to dwell upon a swirl of emotions I hadn't felt in years: anticipation, curiosity, and perhaps a touch of nerves. My quiet house suddenly felt livelier as I busied myself in preparation. There was something wonderfully youthful about the fluttering in my chest whenever I thought about our upcoming evening. It was amusing, yet oddly reassuring, that at 65 I still possessed the capacity for excitement like this. Saturday arrived swiftly, and with it a blend of gentle sun and cool breezes that whispered through the curtains of my bedroom window. I found myself taking extra care in selecting my outfit, settling on a soft, lavender dress I'd almost forgotten I owned, paired with delicate pearl earrings, a treasured gift from John on our last anniversary. Glancing at my reflection in the hallway mirror, I took a steadying breath. My silver-streaked hair was carefully pinned back, and the faint scent of jasmine perfume lingered softly around me. I was ready, yet I couldn't deny the gentle flutter in my heart as the clock ticked toward 6 o'clock. Right on time, a gentle knock at the door drew me from my thoughts. Opening it, I found Tom standing there holding a small bouquet of wildflowers, blue violets, sunny daisies, and a touch of delicate lavender that matched my dress perfectly. "You look lovely, Evelyn," he greeted warmly, offering the flowers with a charmingly bashful smile. "Thank you, Tom," I responded softly, warmth rising to my cheeks. "Please, come in." He stepped inside, glancing appreciatively around my cozy living room. Soft lamplight cast gentle shadows across family portraits and treasured mementos that filled my shelves and mantel. I felt oddly vulnerable, inviting someone new into this intimate space I had protected for so long. "I brought something special," Tom revealed, producing a beautifully wrapped loaf of fresh bread. Homemade. I used Margaret's old recipe. Thought we could share something dear to both of us. The thoughtful gesture touched me deeply, my heart swelling with appreciation. "That's perfect. Dinner's almost ready, too. Make yourself comfortable. I'll be right back." In the kitchen, I arranged the wildflowers in a delicate glass vase, feeling strangely sentimental as their colors brightened the table. As I sliced the bread Tom brought, I caught myself smiling softly. For years, I'd shared quiet dinners alone. Tonight, the warmth of companionship had already made this evening special. We shared dinner by candlelight. Roasted chicken, seasoned potatoes, and fresh garden vegetables, enhanced by the comforting aroma of Margaret's homemade bread. Conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving seamlessly between shared interests, memories of our spouses, and amusing neighborhood anecdotes. You know, Tom began gently, swirling the last sip of wine in his glass. I'd always seen you gardening in your yard, tending so carefully to your flowers. There's a kind of beauty to how you care for them. Like they're friends, not just plants. I laughed softly, charmed by his observation. In a way they are. They've kept me company through some lonely afternoons. His expression grew softer, thoughtful. Evelyn, can I ask, does loneliness ever get easier for you? His question was delicate, filled with sincerity and quiet hope. I sighed, nodding slowly. It changes. Loneliness starts feeling familiar, but the ache never fully fades. There's always an empty spot, isn't there? Tom's eyes reflected understanding. Exactly. I wasn't sure anyone else felt the same. Sometimes it's hard to share those feelings, isn't it? Yes, I admitted softly, but tonight, talking openly, I feel lighter. You've helped me realize that maybe I don't have to carry it alone. Tom reached gently across the table, his fingers brushing softly against mine in a gesture of comfort. The warmth of his touch sent a gentle, comforting current through me. It had been so long since I'd felt such tenderness, unexpected yet welcomed deeply. Our conversation lingered, the candles burning lower until the moon's soft glow flooded my small dining room. The hour grew late, yet neither of us hurried to end the evening. Finally, Tom rose slowly, extending his hand with gentlemanly grace. Care for some fresh air? I accepted without hesitation, slipping my shawl around my shoulders as we stepped onto the porch. The night air was cool, filled with the faint fragrance of spring blossoms and freshly cut grass. Together we gazed upwards, stars shimmering gently in a cloudless sky. It's beautiful, isn't it? Tom murmured softly, his voice gentle in the quiet night. Yes, it really is, I replied, finding my gaze drawn to him rather than the stars above. His silver hair caught the moonlight, and something in his quiet dignity moved me profoundly. Tom turned toward me, a subtle intensity deepening in his blue eyes. Evelyn, this evening has meant more to me than you might realize. It's been a long time since I've felt truly alive, like life still had something special in store. My heart fluttered at his words, and I found myself stepping closer. You know, Tom, I whispered quietly, I thought these feelings were long behind me. But tonight, I realized there's still so much left to discover. He gently touched my hand again, lingering longer this time. I'd like to find out together, Evelyn, slowly, carefully, if you feel the same way. I squeezed his hand softly, feeling warmth flood my heart. I do, Tom. For a moment, we stood quietly, savoring the gentle intensity of our newfound closeness. It was a simple moment, but deeply meaningful. Two people who'd experienced loss, finding comfort and perhaps something more precious in each other. Eventually, Tom stepped back, smiling tenderly. Then we'll take it one step at a time. I smiled warmly, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't known for years. I think that's just right. We said goodnight at the porch steps, Tom's soft smile lingering in my thoughts long after he'd gone. I returned indoors, feeling profoundly grateful for the unexpected turn my quiet life had taken. For the first time in a long while, Loneliness seemed to have lost some of its power. Yet beneath my joy lay a quiet whisper of uncertainty. Could two people, shaped by decades of separate memories, truly build something new at this stage of life? The answer felt unclear, but tonight I was content just to wonder. That night, wrapped in my shawl as I often was, I found myself smiling softly at the stars, looking forward to whatever came next. Because of Tom's gentle courage, I'd rediscovered a warmth I had nearly forgotten. Little did I know, the coming days would reveal even deeper truths and unexpected challenges that neither of us anticipated. Days turned into weeks, each moment shared with Tom adding fresh colors to the canvas of my once muted life. Our connection deepened naturally, built on mutual respect, kindness, and a shared understanding of loss and resilience. Still, there lingered a quiet hesitation, subtle tensions rooted in fears we rarely spoke aloud. One sunny afternoon, while we were planting roses together in Tom's backyard, a comfortable silence settled between us. Kneeling side by side in the soft earth, our hands brushed occasionally, sending small sparks of tenderness through my heart. His garden was different from mine, less tidy, more carefree, but somehow beautifully reflective of his gentle spirit. "You have such a gift for gardening," Tom remarked warmly, gently patting down the earth around a rose bush. "My yard hasn't looked this good since Margaret's days." I smiled softly, wiping soil from my fingers. "It's peaceful to work together. You know, I'd forgotten how nice companionship feels in ordinary moments." Tom glanced at me, his blue eyes warm yet reflective. "I feel exactly the same. You know, Evelyn, I think sometimes people our age assume love and companionship have passed them by. But spending time with you has reminded me it's never too late for new beginnings." His words settled gently over me, making my heart flutter slightly. "But do you ever feel uncertain, Tom? We've both carried so many memories. Sometimes it scares me to think about letting go of them to make space for new ones." He sighed quietly, sitting back on his heels. "It scares me too. But maybe we don't have to let go completely. Perhaps it's more about creating a new story, one built on everything we've learned along the way." I considered his words deeply. The honesty of his fears and hopes reassured me. Still, beneath my happiness was the quiet question I'd been avoiding. Could our newfound connection withstand the complications that might arise, family expectations, community whispers, or even our own doubts? The first challenge came unexpectedly that weekend at our neighborhood's annual community potluck. Tom and I arrived together, walking closely, but aware of curious gazes following our movements. I felt slightly nervous, realizing how visible our closeness had become. The gathering was lively. Neighbors chatting, sharing food, laughter echoing pleasantly under the community pavilion. But amidst the pleasant buzz, I felt acutely aware of subtle whispers, glances, and raised eyebrows directed our way. Later, as I stood alone momentarily refilling our drinks, my longtime friend Maggie gently approached me, her expression a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Evelyn, darling," she began hesitantly, "is everything all right? I see you've become close with Tom. It seems rather sudden, doesn't it?" I paused, sensing the caution behind her words. "It's unexpected, Maggie, but wonderful too. Tom has brought such warmth back into my life." Her eyes softened with sympathy, yet the hesitation remained. "Just promise me you'll be careful. You know how quickly people talk, and at our age, well, sometimes the heart is fragile." Her gentle warning weighed on me as she walked away. Was I being naive? Was our closeness truly unexpected enough to raise doubts among friends who'd known us both for decades? Later, as Tom and I walked slowly back toward our homes, I felt compelled to share my unease. "Tom," I started cautiously, my voice betraying the vulnerability I'd felt earlier. Do you think we're being foolish, opening ourselves to criticism or misunderstanding at our age? Tom stopped walking, turning toward me, his expression calm and thoughtful beneath the soft glow of street lamps. Evelyn, people will always have opinions, but what matters most is how we feel. Life is too precious and too short to live based on others' expectations. His gentle resolve steadied me, reassuring my unsettled heart. Yet I felt the deeper layers of doubt rising, impossible to ignore completely. But what about our families? My daughter might not understand, or yours, for that matter. He reached out, holding my hands gently, warmth radiating from his touch. We'll face those questions together. If we're open and honest, they'll see our happiness. And if it takes time, then we'll be patient. I looked into his sincere eyes, feeling the strength of our connection outweigh my lingering doubts. In that moment, I chose trust. Trust in Tom, trust in myself, and trust in the gentle courage that had carried us this far. You're right, I finally replied softly, squeezing his hand. Life is too short not to embrace happiness. Days later, as anticipated, our decision faced its first test. My daughter, Laura, visited from out of state. She'd always been protective of me, especially after John passed away. Over dinner in my kitchen, I nervously brought up my growing friendship with Tom, carefully watching her reaction. Laura initially hesitated, concern etched into her expression. Mom, I'm glad you have a friend, truly. But isn't this a bit fast? Do you really know Tom well enough? I took a slow breath, gathering courage. Laura, I understand your worry. But Tom has shown me kindness, respect, and genuine care. It's not about rushing. It's about finding connection again. She softened slightly, seeming to recognize the depth of my sincerity. I just don't want you getting hurt, Mom. You've been through enough. Gently, I reached across the table, covering her hand with mine. I appreciate your concern, sweetheart, but sometimes risks are worth taking, no matter our age. Laura paused thoughtfully, eventually nodding with cautious acceptance. If he makes you this happy, Mom, then I'll support you. Just promise me you'll take it slow. I promise, I whispered, feeling a weight lift from my heart. That evening, as Tom joined us briefly to meet Laura, I watched proudly as their initial hesitation faded into genuine warmth. Afterward, Tom walked me home, the moon glowing gently above us. You have a wonderful daughter, he remarked softly. I'm lucky, I agreed warmly, sensing deeper meaning behind his thoughtful gaze. Pausing at my porch steps, Tom faced me, sincerity evident in his eyes. Evelyn, we may face uncertainties ahead, but tonight confirmed something very important. Whatever we encounter, we'll handle it together. My heart swelled with gratitude, his quiet strength empowering me. Together, I repeated softly. In that simple word lay a promise, the acknowledgement that life's surprises, both joyful and challenging, were far easier to navigate hand in hand. As I watched Tom walk back toward his house, I knew our journey was just beginning. Despite uncertainties, his gentle strength had taught me that opening one's heart at 65 wasn't an ending. It was a beautifully hopeful new beginning. Yet little did we know, the coming weeks would test our newfound closeness in ways neither of us anticipated. The weeks passed swiftly, each day deepening the bond Tom and I had carefully nurtured. Our initial hesitations gradually faded, replaced by a sense of quiet certainty. It felt as if our lives, once traveling parallel yet solitary paths, had gently merged, creating something neither of us had foreseen. Late spring brought warmer days, and Tom and I spent much of our time outdoors, gardening, taking peaceful evening walks, or simply sharing quiet conversations on the porch. Our families grew more comfortable with our relationship, sensing the genuine happiness we brought each other. Life seemed serene, filled with a tenderness that felt like a gift earned through patience and courage. Yet life, in its unpredictable manner, held one more unexpected test. One mild evening, while Tom and I sat on my porch watching the sunset paint delicate streaks of orange and pink across the sky, he took a deep breath and turned toward me, his eyes serious but gentle. "Evelyn, there's something important I need to tell you." My heart fluttered, sensing the gravity of his words. "What is it, Tom?" He paused briefly, choosing his words carefully. "I received a call from my doctor today. Some tests I had recently. There seems to be a minor issue with my heart. Nothing urgent or too serious yet, but they advised some caution and regular checkups." Concern tightened my chest, yet I managed to remain calm, reaching out instinctively to hold his hand. "How worried should we be?" He smiled softly, squeezing my hand reassuringly. "Honestly, it's manageable for now. The doctor just recommended taking things easy, staying healthy. But Evelyn, I felt I had to share this with you openly. We've promised honesty in all things." His vulnerability deeply moved me. "Tom, thank you for trusting me. We'll face this together. Whatever comes, we'll navigate it side by side." His eyes sparkled gratefully. "That's exactly what gives me courage." In the days that followed, the news lingered softly in the background of our daily lives, a quiet reminder of life's fragility, yet also reinforcing our commitment to cherish every moment. We became even more intentional about making memories. Picnics in the park, drives to scenic overlooks, quiet mornings sipping coffee as hummingbirds visited the garden. We embraced it all, holding tight to the preciousness of our connection. Yet it was one simple afternoon that crystallized everything clearly in my heart. We had decided to take a stroll along the lake near our homes, a peaceful spot we both visited countless times alone, yet never together. Walking slowly along the lakeside trail, with the sun shimmering gently on the water and tall grasses whispering softly in the breeze, I felt overwhelmed by a sense of deep gratitude. Pausing at a bench overlooking the serene lake, Tom gently guided me to sit beside him, wrapping an arm tenderly around my shoulders. Silence settled comfortably around us, broken only by birdsong and gentle waves lapping at the shore. After a thoughtful pause, Tom spoke softly. "Evelyn, I've been thinking about something." I turned toward him, sensing another important moment unfolding. "Yes." He smiled warmly, his eyes reflecting calm certainty. Life taught us both the value of every moment. It taught us pain and loss, but now it's teaching us something else, how to truly cherish someone again. And Evelyn, I cherish you deeply." Emotion surged gently through me. "I cherish you too, Tom, more than I imagined possible." He took a deep breath, clearly moved. "I'd like us to share even more than we already do, to truly build a future together. Life is unpredictable, but if I've learned anything, it's that it's never too late to open our hearts fully." I understood the depth of his words, feeling tears gently blur my vision as warmth filled my heart. "What exactly do you mean?" He held both my hands gently in his own, his eyes sincere and steady. "Evelyn, will you marry me? Not just to share our days, but to share whatever life brings us, good or bad, together." Surprise washed through me, quickly giving way to pure joy. At 65, I hadn't anticipated such an incredible question, yet it felt completely right. "Oh, Tom," I whispered tearfully. "Yes, I would be honored." He embraced me gently, joy radiating between us, as we savored the quiet power of the moment. Two hearts, shaped by separate lives, now choosing to forge a united path forward, strengthened by mutual respect, deep friendship, and profound love. In the weeks that followed, our families and friends warmly celebrated our news. Plans for a simple, beautiful ceremony unfolded naturally, one held in the garden between our two houses, where our friendship first blossomed. Everything felt meaningful and deeply symbolic of the journey we'd taken together. On our wedding day, under a gentle summer sky filled with drifting clouds and the fragrance of roses, I stood beside Tom in front of our families and closest friends. As we exchanged heartfelt vows, promising patience, kindness, and courage in all that lay ahead, I felt a profound sense of completeness I'd nearly forgotten existed. Afterward, as the evening faded into twilight, Tom took my hand, guiding me to our quiet porch, now draped with delicate fairy lights. The garden around us hummed softly with life and memories. He smiled at me gently, eyes sparkling beneath the soft glow. "Evelyn, can you believe the unexpected journey life took us on?" I laughed softly, squeezing his hand. "Not entirely, but I'm endlessly grateful for every twist and turn, because it led us here, together." He drew me close, his voice tender as we shared a slow dance to the faint strains of music drifting from inside. And just think, we nearly missed it, all because of a clogged gutter and an unexpected knock on your gate. I laughed again, feeling younger and lighter than I had in years. Funny how the smallest gestures change everything, isn't it? His expression grew tender and reflective. Maybe life saves the best surprises for last. Looking into Tom's warm, caring eyes, I knew his words were true. Our journey had reminded us both that love and happiness could blossom at any age, gently unfolding when least expected. Wrapped in Tom's embrace, beneath the quiet stars now lighting the summer sky, I felt profoundly grateful. Together, we would cherish whatever days lay ahead, filled with companionship, laughter, and the quiet strength that comes from choosing love, even when unexpected. And in that peaceful moment, I realized with absolute clarity that life, with all its unpredictability, still held limitless possibilities, no matter one's age. I smiled softly, feeling complete. "Yes," I whispered gently, more to myself than anyone else, "the best truly was saved for last." Together, we stepped forward into tomorrow, ready, united, and unafraid.